What was I just about to say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey, we are live, though.
Better be careful.
Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insights for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at NBNRpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard. I get a bell around. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Hey, got it, Muhammad.
GBR.
Kyle, beautiful. I am sick. I feel terrible. I sound terrible.
You look terrible.
Look, especially that one.
So that's why Connor's not sitting next to me this week. You put over here.
Yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near him.
I'm coughing in the mics. Hopefully you guys don't have to use this one next week.
When you say coughing in a mic, you mean the microphone, correct?
Right.
On me.
This guy.
Right
in his mouth. Right in his mouth. Go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 3, episode 31?
32.
32.
Sorry, Brandon Jackson. Sorry, guys. Coming at you from the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room in La Vista, Nebraska. 68128 is the zip. Don't get it twisted. I myself am drinking what is called the what is it?
Squeeze the day.
Squeeze the day.
Yeah.
A nice little lemon radler.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and me being that I don't feel very well, like I don't know, I just feel like that lemon it's a little zesty.
Yeah,
makes me feel better. You know,
Clear it out a little bit.
Yeah, the phlegm is kind of getting disintegrated
The
through the lemon.
citrus is, I'm really making it happen.
The acid.
Appreciate you.
Good old phlegm, you know.
Good ABV, good medicinal.
Yeah, and if you're FDA and you're listening, I am not saying that it has medical effects, but if you're not from the FDA and you're listening, I am.
Oh, it's
it is. It's almost like a medicine. If you drink enough of them, you won't feel anything.
Yeah.
You'll never another day.
We have a beer on tap. It's called Hop God. That it is a running joke in the brewery. We call it the Hop God Cure All. It's like if you feel like that, you feel like in any way, go drink a Hop God.
You need
in like 30 minutes, you're gonna feel just fine.
Yeah, you need to take a little nappy. You have a few of those.
Yeah, you'll be just fine.
All right. KB, Kyle Byers, what you got?
I am also drinking the Squeeze. Yeah, it's good.
Squeeze that day,
It's
baby.
good stuff. We tried it for the first time at the tailgate for the Illinois game, and I've been hooked ever since. It's either Taco Vesa or the Squeeze. Used to be Lemon Radler, but Squeeze now.
Kyle likes to be squeezed.
New name, new logo.
Squeeze me,
Oh, feed him tacos.
Right. Mike, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Prickleberry. I kind of go back and forth between that, the Hefeweizen, the EOS. I do like Taco Vesa every now and then, but I try to mix it up every week, unlike the guy next to me to the right. Hey, what are you drinking?
I did drink beer this week.
Barely.
I did it, and nobody even brought it up. Last week, I did drink a cold beer, our cream ale. This week, I don't shock everybody to start the episode. I am drinking a Pilsner.
Listen.
All reliable.
Don't freak us out, okay? The cold beer was enough. That's why we didn't say anything, because we're like, whoa. Wait,
I could see you guys were sweating bullets.
Yeah.
Like there was something wrong with me.
We didn't know who you were. Who is this guy? This imposter. All right. Now that we talked about the beers that we're drinking at Nebraska Brewing Company, we do have a fairly special guest coming on the NBNR podcast. He's going to join us very shortly. A lot of Husker fans should know this name. If you don't, then check yourself.
Google's free.
Google is free.
One of the, I would say, most popular Huskers, especially of the modern era. He was kind of a part of an era where a lot of people don't like to talk about it, right? It's kind of shoved underneath
Lost
the
to
rug.
the ages.
Yeah. Cody Glenn, former running back turned linebacker, played in the NFL, slightly more than a cup of coffee in the NFL. So we're going to have him on in a few. But before we introduce him, let's talk about some recent Husker development, shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
So today, it was announced that Nick Gates, former Husker O-lineman,
and teammate of us in the bowling alley for
yes,
shout out Nick.
Yeah, shout out Nick.
We just saw him 2 weeks ago at the bowling alley. Looked in shape, looked good.
Looked great.
A guy that if you're in the way of his bowling ball, your head's getting knocked off.
You're going to die.
I swear to God, it looked like he was going to hit the roof with that ball every time. And then
like
he'd
the
wait. It was
TV's
like,
right there.
he was averaging like 23 miles an hour every throw. It was nuts.
It was insane how fast. I've never seen somebody throw a bowling ball that hard.
If it was anywhere in the middle of those pins, it was just like an explosion.
And then there's me and Kyle averaging like 14, 15.
Oh, I was like,
real big.
You guys
throwing a real tough 12-pound ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Slinging teddy bears over there.
Yeah.
Hey, we still racked that on. We're on the lane. Kyle more than me, but
yeah.
Well, we still haven't said what Nick Gates did.
yeah, we should get into that.
So he is now going to Washington to play for the Commanders. Congrats to him. I don't know exactly how many years is it?
3-year deal.
3-year deal. Monetary amount announced as well, or no?
It was.
If you don't know, it's okay.
No, I mean I have it right here. I
All right.
have it right here.
Google it.
Give me 2 seconds.
It's Mike's background.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Hold on. No, I don't.
we were in the presence of a millionaire, probably. So whatever.
Oh, lots
It's not
of
a big deal.
lots of millions, multiple millions.
What you got?
3-year deal worth 16.5 million with a max value of 18 million. He gets 8 million guaranteed. You know how many bowling balls you can buy? $8 million?
Damn, Nick. And listen, he said that he would come on the No Block No Rock podcast.
Yes.
So now that he's some rich motherfucker,
He's gonna be buying the beers. That's for damn
hell
sure.
yeah.
He's paying for his beers. He doesn't get them for free.
And he's a guy like before going to the league, he had opted to not play at Rutgers.
Yeah.
You remember when they won the game and
I thought that was Brendan Hines.
oh, you know what?
Nick Gates is
I'm an idiot.
before.
Yeah,
that.
you're right. What
Yeah.
the hell am I thinking? That was
Yeah,
Hymus.
You're thinking Brendan Hines, but
Nick Gates, I'm sorry. I was going to say something very false about you. My bad, dude. My bad.
no.
Still come
Mike,
on.
In case you were wondering, that's 57,142 bowling balls at their average price.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just throw a ball and just leave it.
Yeah.
He doesn't
that
need
ball.
Just bring a new ball for every frame.
Yes.
Another thing was, I know it's a huge size, but Bellevue West quarterback Daniel Kalin announced that he is going to Missouri to play for the Tigers, to play for Elia Drinkwitz and the Mizzou Tigers.
Well, and historically, Mizzou has been super relevant.
Well,
So,
I mean, probably more than Nebraska.
Okay.
But
well,
look,
hey, leave us alone.
I can't hate him. I can't hit him for the choice. Like
No.
you can't be like, hey, hold out until Dylan just.
Well, yeah. I mean, how are you going to compete with Dylan Raiola?
okay, here's my thing. Like, he committed to Missouri, but if we're out of the Dillon sweepstakes, I have a feeling that maybe that door isn't totally closed yet. We do have, we do live in the same state as him. It's not very hard to hold him. He doesn't like full like Zane Flores us, but
Well, and we deserve to get ghosted by Zane Flores.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, can you
100%.
blame Zane Flores at all? No.
And like you can't say like Matt Rule. You can't say Matt Rule didn't try. Like, well, he also has to go for Dylan Raiola because if he didn't, then people would criticize him for that.
Yeah.
But that being said, let us welcome on. Hello, sir. How the heck are you?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
doing all right.
Living the dream.
You sound good. You got your Husker sweatshirt on or what? What is that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I got my Nebraska shirt on here. It's a little chilly
good.
down here in Texas.
What?
Yeah, right.
Chili. How
Define
cold is
chili.
it?
It is 66 degrees right now.
Oh, poor baby.
I would
I know,
kill for
right?
66 right now.
I'm full. But
Well,
it'll be
yeah,
80
it's supposed-
degrees in a couple of days.
Oh, you poor thing.
Hey, if it tells you anything how we're feeling around here, it was like 45 degrees this past weekend or whatever, and it was like golfing weather. We were out there in shorts and
I'm wearing a t-shirt right now.
Oh yeah, if
It's
it
like
was 40
fucking
degrees
30
here,
today.
everything shuts down. Like it's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, your power lines get frozen and they like blow up or some stuff.
Oh yeah, that happened to me. That happened to us.
Did it really?
Pipes froze.
Oh my God.
Them pipes
I
are
know.
weak
I was
down
like, man, if this
Texas.
was Nebraska, I'd be outside in shorts. And everybody shut down. The roads, the schools shut down. Everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Well, look, being that you are in Texas, I think our first question to you is, I think it'll match up pretty well with this, but a big thing with new Matt Rule is it seems like his staff is focusing more on Texas than previous staffs before him. You know, whether it's attribute that to many things, the change in the conference and all that stuff. If you could just kind of tell us your first impressions of Matt Rule, the kind of inroads and relationships that he's building in Texas, ones that he's built since he's at Baylor. Just get into that a little bit if you could.
I think what they're doing right now, they're doing a really great job of understanding how important recruiting Texas is, and with the relationships that they built over the years when he was at Baylor, and then with Dr. Elza there. I mean, she's a key part of this whole recruiting Texas process, just because of her background and who she is. And they've made it really important to come to Texas, you know, make people realize, you know, what Nebraska is, what we have to offer, why it's a special place, and to get those kids there. And just like with me, if you get them on campus, you got a chance. So just trying to get those kids there.
Yeah. And the thing about Texas, and I think you would agree with this, isn't there just a specific like type of player that comes from Texas versus, like, you know, we could talk shit about California and how they're, you know, soft and all that, but isn't there just a different type of player that comes from that state, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. We built different down here. You know, that's what, you know, we tell everybody is, and it's hard to, you know, really explain it until you've been here, you've lived it. You know, that Friday Night Light stuff is real. You know, like they shut the town down. If you ever want to rob the town, go on a Friday night when there was a football game going on. Like, you grow up watching those guys on Friday nights, idolizing those guys playing football in the back of the stands, you know, tackle football, getting your school clothes dirty. And then you finally understand it more. You go watch the game actually, and then you finally get to put that uniform on. And it means a lot. You know, it means just like, you know, that kid that's in, you know, North Platte, Nebraska somewhere, actually getting to suit up for Nebraska. That's what it's like to suit up for our high school teams. So that's how important it is, you know, so that's why it's such a big thing.
Coming out of Rusk, Texas, you had a phenomenal high school career. Was there any shock when you get to Nebraska and you started playing for the Huskers, or did it kind of feel normal? Were you used to that kind of pressure?
I think it was kind of normal as far as the football aspect of it, just because, you know, growing up in a small town and, you know, being the only, you know, D1 talent that we had on that football team, there was pressure every night for us to be successful, was dependent on my play. So I felt that pressure every single night playing in high school. And then going to Nebraska and just, you know, the welcome I got and just, you know, understanding Nebraska football. I think more of the pressure at Nebraska was, you know, doing it for the fans, making the fans proud by everything that they've given us. So that was the most pressure there.
One of our commenters says, hot take from No Block No Rock, California players are soft, LOL. What?
They must not watch the same type of football. Go watch the Pac-12 and go watch the SEC and the Big Ten play football. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just us. Cody Glenn is saying this too.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
former NFL guy. Okay, it's not like clueless. He knows his stuff.
So Cody,
it's definitely true. I mean, not to say they all saw, but I remember, you know, coming into Nebraska, you know, meeting all these guys from different places, and some of the guys that came from Nebraska, came from California. I was like, man, what was y'all weight program like? They say, what? You never lifted weights in high school. And that was just unheard of for me. I've been lifting weights since I was in the 5th grade. Like, what? And so that
Clearly
explained it some.
So I love your Twitter bio that says that you're your most favorite player. You're a former Nebraska black shirt and an eye back.
Yes, sir.
And the tweet pinned, and that's when I reached out to you, is when you tweeted about that Nebraska was. You were excited about the future with Nebraska football, and you're going back, showing your kids that you are not a human jungle gym. You are actually a baller, right?
Exactly. They would argue with you, but yes.
I'm starting to. So I have a 9-month-old at home, and I'm starting to understand the human jungle gym. She's just starting to crawl, but now she's adventurous by like pulling up on me and trying to crawl on top of my head and on my back, and
Just getting the grip.
Yes, and she's only like 18 pounds, so
Oh yeah,
I know I got a long ways to go, but
oh yeah, it's crazy. I got my youngest is 18 months, and my middle one is 4 years old. And if I go to lay on the ground, they jump in on me. They want to wrestle, they want to play, they want to hit, they want to do everything, and I just got to take it, So, but I mean, it's fun. I enjoy it, and every now and then, anytime my 4-year-old son, his name is Champ, anytime he sees a red team on TV. He's, Daddy, go Big Red. Daddy, go Big Red.
Hell yeah.
Future Husker.
You're doing something.
So going back to that tweet, can you elaborate a little bit on why you are so excited for this Matt Rule era start? Obviously, your coach down in Texas. Matt Rule's got a good relationship down in Texas, but can you kind of explain why you are ready to run through a wall for Matt Rule?
I think just because, what they bring. Matt Rule's background and, from being at Temple and just kind of how he built that up and being at Baylor, just, everything about him and the staff that he's assembling, bringing some high school coaches from Texas there. Coach McGuire's son is there. And like I said, Dr. Elza's there. So I think they understand what they want to do. And so I think right now we're kind of getting that identity of what Nebraska football is going to be like, in the future. So with having an identity and understanding what we can expect, that makes me excited. Because, sometimes, and I mean, I love the guys in the past, but I really didn't know the exact direction that we was going to. With these guys, I know what they want to do, kind of their vision and what they want to accomplish, how important recruiting Texas is, and just understanding what they're going to get from this state. And, what that means for the future of Nebraska. That's what makes me excited about the future.
And you look at the stuff that they're doing. You're seeing videos everywhere, with these team competition things and, the commitment week stuff, guys carrying dudes and their rules, stealing basketballs from people, and they're doing dunk contests, and they're doing team competitions where, hey, if you go to class, if you go to all these events on campus and you get points and all that stuff. And you've been a part of changed regimes and stuff like that. Have you done anything like Matt Rule's doing right now with these team commitment weeks? Sorry, I'm sick. Team commitment weeks and like anything like that when you were at Nebraska?
No, not that I can recall of doing anything like that. I do remember just the transition of going from one staff to another, and some of the things that separated the new staff was just the bonding things that we did as far as just being together, coming together, either it was Coach Blake's house or Coach Jordan's house, or going to the bowling alley or something. Like, we did a lot more things together, which kind of got us closer. And I think that what's allowed, that team to be a little bit more successful than, some of the previous teams.
So as you got closer with your teammates, did you find that the competition got a little bit more intense? Like, were you a little bit more motivated to beat your friends?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was crazy going into that to the spring when I did switch over to linebacker, because I switched over when Pelini got there. Oh man, I had so much fun that spring switching over to linebacker. And now I got Marlon Lucky, I got Roy Lou, I got Quinn Castile, I got all those guys over there who I've been bonding with for the last couple of years. We've been together, dorms together, freaking the Hewitt Center. We do all these things like close. Now we after each other. Now it's like, let's get after it. So that was fun. Just all that bantering back and forth. So that was awesome.
Who did you go head to head with the most? Who was the one guy that every day you walked in you wanted to beat?
I think Quentin, because he was the only one that wasn't scared. But he was a big dude, Quentin Castile. So he was the only one that when he saw me, he would come and he would bring it. And I would say I won more than he did, but he would probably say opposite of that. But it was some fun guys.
Talked about transition from running back to linebacker. What went into that change? Talk about the process, from switching the staffs to having that conversation with Bo's staff about going from running back to linebacker.
So with them, we had our old trainer, Doak Osegard. He was our trainer at the time, and I used to talk to him a lot. Me and him was really close. And when the new staff got there, he just kind of let those guys know, hey, this guy's, he's a really talented guy. He's been kind of, shuffling through a running back room that's, really talented running back room by this committee and all this, but let's try him out on defense because we believe he can help. And so I talked to Coach Pelini and Coach Eckler, and they said, hey, if you want to come try it out, since you know everything at running back, you can come try it out this spring. And if there's at any point you don't like it, you don't want to do it, you can go right back to running back. And that was after playing running back for like a week in the spring or something. And so I was like, okay, I tried. And, it worked out. I think within the first 3 days, I was a starting wheel linebacker for Nebraska. So I was like, oh, yeah, I like this. So it was like, yeah, I'm here to stay. I love it.
Did you play linebacker in high school?
At a small school, mostly just running back, but it was if they had a good corner. If they had a good receiver, I played corner. If they had, a good running back, I played linebacker. If they had a good quarterback, I played defensive end. Okay. If they had a big tight end or something, I played safety. So really just whatever I needed to play that week.
Well, yeah, in your first start at linebacker, you had what, like 12 tackles, 3 pass breakups. I think you had a forced fumble, something like that. Like right away, it's like, oh, there's something there.
Yeah, is that who's that? Western Michigan was that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I was just
so
excited, man. I was just flying around having fun, and that was kind of like Coach Pelini and Coach Eckler was like, just go play. Don't worry about everything. We got everything set up where you can just fly around and make plays. Philip Dillard is going to make you right. You got Sue and Crick up front. Nobody's going to touch you. So, I was just flying around having fun.
Yeah, no shit. You got those guys in front of you.
Yes, absolutely.
When you came to Nebraska, you were billed as the short yardage, like this guy's be the hammer to like Corey Ross's and like Marlon Lucky's like slipperiness. So it's like going to linebacker. First of all, you had to embrace that role, didn't you?
Absolutely. It had to something I had to accept and just understand using a different skill set because that was completely different.
So going to linebacker was just like, I can do that myself.
I can lay a hammer, right?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of worked out where, just using, natural athletic ability and just football instincts and just kind of knowing what those guys on the other side of the ball was thinking and what they was trying to do as far as, schemes and everything and how to, counteract that kind of made it a lot easier for me making that transition as if I had never played on that side of the ball. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, especially having played special teams and all that stuff. So it just kind of worked out as a natural fit.
So Jared mentions coming to Nebraska, embracing that short yardage role, but you were also offered by Kansas A&M and Oklahoma State. So what was that recruiting process like, and what made Nebraska stand out to you?
So whenever I was, going through the recruiting process, I had, no idea where I wanted to go. Really, had never really been outside of Texas. Never really been anywhere really. So I just kind of told my mom, I don't know where I'm going to go throughout this process, but when I know, I'm going to know whatever feels right for me. So I went to Kansas and I went to Oklahoma State and I went to A&M like every weekend because it was just down the road. Went to UT and finally took my official visit, to Nebraska and just going to the game and just that atmosphere and the love that you get from all the fans. And, I'm a kid from a 5,000 town in Texas, a little small town Rusk, and like people know who I am. And that's just crazy that, football there is that important to them. And it just kind of made me feel like I was back home. And it just felt right. So when I got back, my mom wasn't so excited at first because it was so far away, but she loved it. She knew it made me happy. It felt right. So that's really what got me to Nebraska.
So you took on your official visit then?
Yeah, I took that official visit. I took like 3 more, but I told Coach Jordan at the time, who was a running back coach, I said, Coach Jordan, I'm a poor kid from Russ, Texas. I ain't never been out of Texas until just now. I'm going on these visits. I'm going to let them wine and dine me. I'm going to eat good. I'm going to let them lay out on the carpet. I'm going to do everything. But I'm coming to Nebraska. Just know that. And so I did it.
That's back when a commitment actually was a commitment, right?
Exactly. It's like, how much y'all paying me? Oh, that's not enough. I'm going somewhere else now.
So being a high school coach now, I mean, how is it like navigating that NIL realm? I don't know if you have any guys that are getting recruited right now, but are you helping young men kind of navigate those waters?
Yeah, so actually at the high school I'm at, Cypher High School, I'm actually the recruiting coordinator there as well.
Okay.
So I'm actually, we have a quarterback that's committed to Texas. We have a receiver. He's got a bunch of offers. I think he's committed to Rice, but he's still open. And then we have a tight end H-back guy that's really good. He's offered by a couple of guys, and then we have the defensive tackle that Nebraska offered, Landon Rink. Who's he's just a monster. That kid, he's different. So just dealing with those guys, just trying to help them navigate through it, and just really the biggest thing is making sure they understand this process and how it's not like it used to be where, colleges would come and they offer all these high school kids and these high school kids would commit. I mean, they offering, say 5 receivers. If 2 of them commit, high school kids, then that's it for high school receivers. And then they on to the portal and to, JUCO or whatever the case may be. But they're not offering a lot of high school kids anymore. So now that these kids are getting these offers, I mean, they got to really consider these offers early and, really think about, do I want to go to this school? Do I not? Because unless you're a, top 100 player in the entire country, I mean, a lot of colleges is not going to wait on you. I mean, if you're the number 1 player in the country, you can probably wait until February or whatever. But, if you're a 4-star, 3-star receiver somewhere, you might want to go ahead and try to lock some down, early.
So what are, as like the recruiting coordinator, what are you looking at as far as like somebody comes to visit your high school to talk to you about your kids? Like what kind of separates those recruiters from the universities? Like what sets them apart? Because we hear all the time about like, good recruiters and things like the college level. Like what sets them apart that kind of like makes kids' eyes like pop?
So with a lot of recruiters that we get in, a lot of times they kind of know some of our kids. And I think with Texas high school football being a little different is because those coaches know that we are teachers in the school. So I teach economics. So we are teachers in the school. We with those kids every single day. So when we tell these coaches, about the character of these kids and the talent level of these kids, they believe us and they understand that what we're saying is true. And you get some of those colleges that get on campus and they see some of our kids and they're like, okay, yeah, that's a D1 kid. And some of the kids that they see when they get on campus that they've heard about, they not as advertised. So I think it's really good that we get a lot of those colleges that come to our campus to get eyes on our kids, and they can see, for themselves what we've been telling them is that kid's a D1 kid, is he a D2 kid, whatever the case may be.
So we hear stories of recruiters coming in and doing some very flashy things. The one I really want to point out is Kirby Smart and his helicopter landing on a team's field. Has there been anything like that you've seen? Or what's like the flashiest thing you've seen a team come to like try and wow a player?
Man, we haven't had any of those yet. We probably will with the D tackle that we have coming up. But I guess the flashiest thing, a couple of years ago when I was at a different school in the same area, we had this receiver that ended up going to Texas A&M, and we had Sumlin. He was the coach there at the time at A&M, and he had what they call the swag copter. And so he would come in the swag copter, land, come to the games, be right there on the sideline, and it's just nuts. Everybody could hear it, they could see it, they knew who it was, and it made it great games because all the kids freaking turned up, and it was like they was like, I'm getting a scholarship tonight, So that's the craziest thing I saw.
How hard is it to like bring those kids back down to earth? Like, okay, you're not that big yet, right? Like you got a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think with the area that we're in, just on our team, we have 4 Division I players, and even the I keep forgetting his name, the kid from South Woods, Cypress, Texas. Dylan Rogers, who's coming to Nebraska. We played him this year, so he had a teammate that's going to Oregon. So I think because they see so many Division I players, it doesn't make it as big of a deal. Because for me, growing up in a small town, I was the only kid offered by Division I college within 100 square miles, and so like it was a big deal. And so I think that, the competition here, it makes it a little bit more, those guys a little more grounded.
If you saw a helicopter in Rusk, Texas, like what the?
I'm like man, who got hurt? Was there a car crash? Somebody's getting
No, we're here to recruit you.
Shit, we're airlifting Cody Glenn to Nebraska. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Nah, that would have been nuts.
You were saying that you said Cy-Fair High School, right, in Cypress?
Yeah. Yep.
The defensive tackle is being recruited by Nebraska, right? That's what you said?
Yep.
So have you met personally with Terrence Knighton or Rule or anyone else from the current staff about this kid?
No, Coach Knighton was the one that came down. So I got a chance to talk to him a little bit just about the kid. And, he just kind of wanted to get eyes on him. And, we've talked about him. And so he was really the only one that I've seen that's come down so far.
Okay. Did he do his homework? Did he know who you were?
No, he's not I guess not to say he's not a Nebraska guy, but he's not, a Nebraska guy. And so he didn't know who I was, but
a former Husker.
Yeah, I had to explain it to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay." So I got to talk to him a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. So you could tell him a little bit about Lincoln, because he probably doesn't know much shit about it yet. But
did you give him some grief?
Tell him stay away from O Street after 12 o'clock. Shoot.
Hey, that's a smart man right there. Nothing good happens on O Street after 12.
You know what?
No.
That sounds like a Boney player right there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Get caught on O Street by Bo Pelini after midnight. See what happens.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, that's happened before. That's happened.
Wait, did it happen to you?
Not you though.
No, I was hiding. No, it didn't happen to me. I don't know if y'all remember, like when Pelini was there, like I don't know, a couple of guys that got into it or something, and we was banned from O Street until we could only go Saturday or something like that. So we was pretty much banned from O Street until Saturdays after the game. And I know some guys got caught down there, and it wasn't pretty.
What were some of the punishments that got handed out if you got caught there without Bo's permission?
Oh, jeez.
Oh no, it was like 6 a.m. pencil rolls on the indoor facility. Stair climbing for like an hour at 8 steps per hour, whatever the case was. But whatever made you throw up the most and the fastest, and made you hate your life the most, that's what it was. So it only took a couple times.
So yeah, that's a very motivating thing to not do again.
Because then you had to get up and go to class. Because if you missed class, then it was double. So.
Right. So you've joined the exclusive. We've had a lot of Bo guys on. All right. And we asked this with every single Bo guy we've ever had on the show. Do you have any favorite Bo Pelini stories? Maybe a time that he got in on your ass. Maybe got in on somebody else. But do you have a favorite memorable Bo Pelini story?
Man, not where he really got after somebody. It was the one that I always come to mind is actually a good one, where him being a ball coach, and we had this little linebacker, Matt, what was his name, number 35, I can't remember his name, but we was playing somebody. I think it was Kansas, and Bo Pelini told this linebacker, as a backup linebacker, told him to go sit on the 25-yard line, 2 yards outside the hash. Don't move. He's gonna throw the ball right to you. All right. Ball snap, that guy just sits there, whatever, throws it up. The guy don't move, he throws it right to him, interception. You think he takes it for 20 yards or something, game over. And I didn't know how he knew that. Like, that was the craziest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was unreal. But I mean, obviously, I've seen Bo chew a lot of ass in my head.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of the nation has.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. That's probably why
a lot of
he's
Texas
not there
A&M
anymore.
fans did. Yeah, it's one of the reasons. And you know, it's funny that Mike asked you about a Bo Pelini story because, like, you were recruited by Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
And so, like, and we were saying right before you came, like, the Bill Callahan era, especially before got here, that was like the era that Nebraska fans like to forget, and we like to sweep it under the rug. It didn't happen. Shh, a Men in Black thing, right? Shh.
Yeah.
But and of course, we look back at the Callahan era a little bit more positively. I mean, he had a 9-win season in there.
He had a top 10 recruiting class.
Beat Michigan on a crazy play in the Alamo Bowl, whatever.
Oh yeah.
We do too. Yeah. Do you feel like Bill Callahan kind of gets a bad rap, or like? I'm not going to ask for a Callahan story necessarily, but just like, what are your kind of just overarching thoughts about Bill Callahan as a coach at Nebraska?
I think with Bill Callahan, I just think he was never a college coach. With him being in a meeting room with him, you know, when I was playing running back, and you know, he was more on the offensive line and all that. I've still yet to find anybody that is as smart football wise as Bill Callahan for his X's and O's and schematically and just, you know, football. Just I've never met anybody as smart as him. You know, he kind of looks like the mad scientist, though, glasses on and having below his nose and all that. Like, he is the smartest football player that I ever met, football coach I've ever met. His thing was he just wasn't. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, Siri, shut up.
I don't understand.
He wasn't a coach's, a player's coach. Siri's, I don't know, Siri's tripping, but he wasn't a player's coach, so he couldn't really relate to us, you know. So there was that disconnect between him and the players, and I think is why he couldn't get as many people to really, you know, play for him when times was bad. You know, people just kind of, you know, would tank. And I think with Bo Pelini, I mean, Bo Pelini could walk into my house right now and say, "Cody, let's go. See that wall? Run through it." "Yes, sir. Helmet on. I'm going right now."
Hell yeah.
That's just who he is, you know, even with a broke neck. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the from every single Bo Pelini player we've ever talked to.
I don't think I've heard a single Bo player tell me that they wouldn't run through a wall for him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you see all the stuff on the sidelines where he's ripping people's ass and all that. I always tell people, if that dude didn't mess up, he wouldn't be getting his ass ripped. Like,
there's a reason. That was going to be my next question, was when that came down, like, did you just know as he was in your face and you could see those veins, because you always could,
in the spin,
did you just know, like, I deserve this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I was probably just as mad at myself as he was. And, you know, I would just take all the, you know, the spit in the face and the yelling and, oh, man, it was just, you know, I can see his face right now yelling at me, but, you know, I just, well, if I didn't mess up and I didn't do the wrong coverage, or I didn't hit the wrong gap, and that dude didn't go 80 yards for a touchdown, he probably wouldn't be ripping my ass. So that's on me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We had Josh Mitchell on, and Bo apparently prepped these guys for this exact same thing to happen 100 times in practice, and they were out of place. And he said, "Yep, I knew that was going to happen." And after Bo got done ripping you, he said that he'd pick you back up later on. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every single time. That's what people didn't see, but every single time.
The media never saw that part, right?
No, they only saw Angry Bo.
Huh?
They only saw Angry Bo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's all they want to see. So when all he did was win 9 games every single year, he was there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bo being nice isn't great for ratings. So why would they show that?
It's boring.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Changing lives for the better.
Yeah, boring. I need to create a narrative.
So you had mentioned a coach earlier, Mike Eckler, who has probably a 50-inch vertical. He's coaching at he's up there. He's coaching at Tennessee right now. Mike Eckler. When I say Mike Eckler, like, what comes to mind?
Man, just animal. Like, absolutely animal. Like, he's great coach. Like he has the most energy of any coach I've ever been around in my life. Like I knew if I made a play, I need to go watch for him because he's coming and he's gonna be like upside my head, like cheering. Like he was, like you said, he had a 50-inch vertical, like crazy. Little small guy. He go in the weight room, do his 225 every single day. But man, he has so much energy.
Okay. I just feel like he's a overlooked coach, and of course he's on a pretty good team. They were pretty good last year. Tennessee.
Yeah, they were good.
He had done his little leaping thing, and I posted a thing on our Twitter with like 4 different times that he did that at Nebraska. I know he did it more than that, but it's like good to see Coach Eckler again. He's just one of those dudes that, again, Callahan era, you don't really hear about him, but he's still a hell of a coach. Hello.
Oh yeah.
So you talk about Eckler just being high energy, getting you hyped up. Player or coach, any of the guys that you played with or were coached by, who was like the biggest hype man? Who was the guy that every time you walked on that sideline was just ready to get you going?
Oh man, probably I don't know. Probably Philip Dillard.
Okay.
Linebacker we had. I think it was more just his intensity. He wasn't always just loud, but man, game time came and man, he just had this intensity about him that like, man, let's go. He was our Mike linebacker, like he was the leader of the show. But man, that dude, and he's a funny dude too. But like he would get you going.
Let's jump to your NFL career just a little bit. I know that you were drafted by the Redskins. That you eventually ended up with the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go.
Go Colts.
Play with Peyton the Gun, right? Yeah.
And you look, I'm just doing a little bit of research or whatever, and it's like you were in the middle of probably what was the craziest play in Super Bowl history.
Oh yeah.
Now, I just want to state for the record, everybody, Cody Glenn did not hit the ball first. That was not you.
It was Hank
But
Basket.
you were
I
in
would
the
say
middle
it.
of that
Hank
pile, though.
Basket.
You can say his name. I didn't want to, but
Yeah, it was Hank
it's like,
Basket.
Get his ass.
Write him down.
Oh,
well, and yeah, you playing in the Super Bowl, just kind of go through how intense was that? That's a whole different thing. The Super Bowl, it's an event in itself. Everybody in America watches that game and overseas. Just like going to, it was like playing in a Super Bowl.
oh man, it was unreal. I think the first part of it, one of the things that I remember the most. So we getting ready, for the game. We're on the sideline, and I look over next to me, and I see this little pretty woman in all white getting ready to sing a national anthem. I was like, man, she's beautiful. And it was what's my country singer name? I just lost her
Carrie?
name. Carrie, yes.
Underwood.
And I was mesmerized for a second. I couldn't focus on the game because she was so beautiful.
Yeah, the regular season, really.
Carrie Underwood, that's what it was. Yes. But other than that, I mean, whenever you watch the game, from home or whatnot, and the opening kickoff, and then you see all the cameras flashing and stuff, and we kicked the ball off first, and so just running down, I mean, for a second, I could see all those flashes and all of that, and then it kind of came back and focused on the game, but I just remembered that part of it, and that part being one of those really special moments and one of those awe moments, and like, man, this is the Super Bowl, like this is the opening kickoff. This dude from Russ, Texas is running down in Miami on the Super Bowl 44. Like it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. Been better.
Okay, so this is a personal question for me. So Peyton Manning was and is my favorite player of all time. What was it like sharing a locker room with that guy? And my daughter after him, for God's sakes. I mean, like I have to ask this question.
Man,
Too.
No, it's not.
It's not. But
man, Peyton he's exactly what you think he is, and he's exactly what you see. He's the first person in, last person to leave. I think he's funny, he's charismatic, nobody works harder. Like, he is a bona fide leader. You knew without a doubt when you came into the Colts facility that he was the leader on that team. and just just a funny dude. Like every single day in practice, him and Jeff and all those guys, they would joke around and do different stuff. And I was telling this story about Peyton as a leader. So on that team, we had Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, Dallas Clark, Jeff Saturday, all these guys, big time guys. And I remember we had a meeting, when football players or anybody come into a room, they always want to sit at the top at the auditorium or whatnot. And so everybody's sitting up top. And it became like a players meeting. So Peyton walks up and he said, all right, everybody, first 4 rows, let's go. There wasn't any bitching. There wasn't any complaining. There wasn't any moaning. You got these big 6'6", 300-pound guys. Get up, come down to the front, sit down. Let's have our meeting. Nothing was said. And that was like my first week there. So I was like, holy cow, like that's the dude. He's the dude. So that kind of lets you know like who he is. Yeah.
Just imagine if Tom Brady was running that meeting.
Fuck you. We all know.
And I don't even like Tom Brady.
Find me another quarterback that has more MVPs than Peyton Manning. I'll wait. You guys can keep looking. I'll wait.
You give me 12 rounds in a ring, I put my money on Peyton every day of the week.
That's fine. Well, do you guys have any other?
I do have a bit of a personal question. So years ago, I don't know if it was like a Team Jack gala or something, but my grandma, my whole life has gifted me hand-painted portraits. And we showed up to this convention at the Embassy Suites here in Vista. And I walked in hopes that I would get Ndamukong Suh's signature with my dad. And I believe that you were somebody that I shook hands with standing next to Gumsue, his sister. And I didn't know if you remember that or not, but my dad would kill me if I forgot to just mention it and ask you if you remembered anything about that.
I do remember being at Embassy Suites with him and his sister and all that. I don't remember the exact interaction, but I do remember that night and being there and all that. Yeah. Did you get it signed?
No, it's still unsigned, hanging up on the wall. One of the few,
right? Isn't it
one of the few? I've got like 27 or so. My grandma's given me 1 or 2 every year since I was born, and they're all just like famous football players, coaches, things like that. So it's always like a fun thing. We always try to get him signed on senior day, but we got Sue's. He was a senior that year, so to meet him at fan day. So we found this reporter that got us in the door, and then he had just taken off like in his limo. And Gum was trying to call him like, yo, like you got to come back here and see this thing. And yeah, it just didn't work out.
He's like, nah.
I just wanted to bring it up. My dad would kill if I didn't. Yeah.
You should have just lied to him, told him you remembered it.
Oh, yeah, man. That's the greatest time, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Man.
Good night.
We always like to wrap up segments with former players and guests just asking what you're predicting for this upcoming season for Nebraska football. It could be a record, preferably a record, but just what is your prediction for this 2023 Husker season?
Man, really, I mean, I'm not going to sit and say, oh, I just hope we do better than last year and all this. Like, of course, we better do better than last year. I mean, honestly, I expect 7 to 8 wins. I expect everything to be, trending in the right direction. I expect guys to be on board. I expect to be able to see that as I watch them, as I hear them speak in the media that, man, we are all in. There's no separation between the old regime and the new regime. Like, we are all one. Like, that's what I expect, just based on what I've seen so far. And if we don't see that, like, something needs to be done. Like, we need everybody on the same page, ready to go. 7 to 8 wins. That's where we starting at, and we're going to build from there.
I love it.
I love that.
Amen.
One more thing I want to ask you, Cody. Do you plan on going to any Husker games? So have you been any Husker since you left university? And do you plan on going any next year?
When I first got out, I used to go quite a bit. And since I've been back in Texas coaching, I hadn't had a chance to go just because obviously our season and their season, same time. Yep. But every now and then we'll have a week off or bye week or something. But I do want to make it a point this year to get back up there and take my son since he's old enough to kind of understand and see everything that's going on. I can show them my name. I think I got, my name is on that wall in there, so I can kind of show them, hey, there's Dad. So it'll be pretty cool. I think I'm gonna try to get back up there this year.
Good. Well, if you do come down, we have a beer waiting for you here in the tap room. We're at the largest brewery in the state of Nebraska, in Omaha. It's Nebraska Brewing Company. And in Lincoln, we'll definitely take care of you at a tailgate too. If you bring your family, we'll feed you, we'll wine and dine you, make sure you have a memorable time when you come back.
Absolutely. Beer, food, and football. I'm there every day of the week.
That's a true Nebraska guy right there.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't matter if he's from Texas. True Nebraskan.
Yes, sir.
All right, Cody Glenn, thank you for coming on. No block, no rock. We appreciate you, and we want to wish you luck down in Texas. Hope you're doing all right down there.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Go Big Red.
Go Big Red. Thanks, Cody.
Go Big Red indeed. All right, Cody Glenn.
That was a great interview.
That was very fun.
Very personal guy.
Yeah.
It feels like he's still connected to the university, and a guy that hasn't played at Nebraska or been on Nebraska in a long time, but just that coaching hat when he put it on, you can feel that. You can feel how he connects his time here at Nebraska with the way he does things now. And
yeah. And you know what? One thing that I always appreciate about the former players that we have on this show are guys like, this is what I expect. It's got to be 7-8 wins a year.
Like,
it's
can
got
we stop fucking around? It's like that.
It's gonna be 4 or 5.
Fuck that.
Like we gotta give him time. We gotta do that. Like, no, he was very straight to the point. Like, no, 7 or 8 wins. I gotta be seeing these in the media, talking like this, doing this. Like, he knows what it looks like.
Right? Yeah.
So it's always fun to hear those guys' perspective. Like, what do you expect? Because as a fan, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about this stuff. Like, I talk into a microphone every Monday. Like,
exactly.
I'm just a fan. I just said, I support from the sidelines. Like, I don't know, but he knows what it looks like, and he had a pretty good opinion on it.
It's easy for us to say 8 wins or bust.
Right.
Yeah,
None of us are taking a field. I will tell you, every Monday that we get to talk to a bow player, it's special because they are just some of the most genuine dudes. And I think that probably comes a little bit from bow shaped them in their time at Nebraska. But every Monday we get a bow player. All I can think is, how long until we get Bo?
Right.
That would be incredible.
Bo.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
If we got to talk to Bo for 30 minutes, cry.
I agree.
I'll take 10.
Give me 10.
I'll take 10.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or Troy Walters.
Troy, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, yeah,
because I feel like there's a saying that we have on this podcast.
Oh,
that is a good saying.
That is sure he has said that before.
Yeah. No, you're talking about.
We got the saying, no block, no rock.
That would be the fantastic.
Well, I think as soon as Troy saw that Mike quit the thing after like 8 days,
dude,
he's like, you know what? Man. How bad they really want me? If after 8 days, I'm getting sick of this Twitter shit.
Dude, it's tough.
God,
it's tough. We just need to find someone who has his phone number, and then we'll just call him.
Troy, we're nice guys.
We're gonna call him on air. We'll put him on the spot and be like, "Let's get you in here."
Troy,
the brewery's gonna pay for it. You're gonna come down and you're gonna do it.
Troy, why do you hate us?
Yeah.
Okay, just like I know that we're gonna keep going, right?
We're gonna keep going.
Yeah. So this is kind of like you said that we want to get Troy Wall on. A guy that I would like to get on, and we tweeted about him today, is Sam Greasel.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And like, I know you sent a tweet out about him. I said he should never have to buy another meal or drink in the state ever again. And so, like, this is our invitation to Greasel. You want a free drink? Come to Nebraska Brewing Company.
Free drink, free dinner,
free drinks.
Yes, drinks,
plural.
Yes,
Sam.
They have it up here.
Yes, we will do our part.
You work as hard as you can. I'm not going to run out.
Yeah.
We will do our part with the free drinks part. So
yes.
I'm just saying, and this can kind of lead to a discussion about Nebraska ball not making the IT. I was not surprised at all.
No, I wasn't either.
You know what I mean? And
hold on. When you say you weren't surprised, are you saying you're not surprised that we didn't make the NIT, or you weren't surprised by the loss to Minnesota? Because I was surprised by the loss.
Well, I think if you beat Minnesota, you're in NIT regardless.
Yeah,
right.
And we said that last week. We're like, if you lose to Minnesota, that team is terrible. And everything that needed to happen at the end of the game happened, and you still lost.
Yeah.
So
but I'm saying, were you like, don't tell me you weren't surprised by the result of the game, because I don't think any of us at that table last Monday envisioned Nebraska losing to Minnesota.
Oh,
No,
I had said Minnesota's a bad team.
I
They're
wasn't
bad.
surprised after the loss that we weren't going to get the bid. We talked about that extensively,
yeah.
but I was very surprised by the result of that game.
yeah.
Like the Nebraska team looked like that they had the heart. They were working their asses off for the entire last 8-9 games,
all of February.
Yeah, and they looked good.
This could again, like the last 8 or 9 games, right? Do you feel like Nebraska was playing above their heads?
A little.
I think a little bit.
I definitely think you could say that,
because I think that because over, this was his 4th year, right? 4th year.
Yeah.
And it's like the past 8 or 9 games, while great, obviously
They were fantastic.
it was an anomaly from the rest of the 4 years. You know what I mean? It's like,
sure.
Like that window was so much different from what we've seen before. So it's like, are we getting fool's gold right now?
Maybe not, though. I mean, honestly, it's something to build off of. You still have, in the 8-9 game stretch, you had guys like Jamarcus Lawrence who got head minutes and looked good. Like even against Minnesota, he looked good. Really coming and finding his own as a shooter. You got a guy like Samberg who got these minutes, and you found out that this guy is a fucking grinder. He is a guy that's going to make plays.
First in, first out.
Yes. And you see these guys, if you get Casey Tominaga to come back, you have guys to build around. You are still missing some pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, if Hunter Salas were to go to the portal and maybe come to Nebraska, that would be an instant game changer type guy. You need a true point guard, though. I love the fuck out of Sam Griesel. I love what he did at the university. I love what he did for this team. But you need a true distributor. You can't run your offense through a guy like Derek Walker. That's not going to be consistent.
No,
it's not.
No.
I think I would hesitate to call that stretch fool's gold. What I would call it was, for the first, honestly, the majority of the season was unrealized potential. And then sort of near the back end, they started to figure out like, hey, we're not slouches. We can compete. And then obviously just, there's really no other way to put it other than a poor performance against Minnesota.
Yes.
There's really no other way to put it. I'm sorry.
They lost their best player with 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And you still couldn't.
It was disappointing. But yeah, I would hesitate to call that run near the back end of the season fool's gold. I would say
it was all heart.
It's a silver lining for what I think Hoiberg probably saved his job.
Well, he did save his job, but it's a building block in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think, and we hope it is. I guess.
And so I think, I think you see a team and a culture that's really starting to come together for Hoiberg.
So here's like my outlook on the future. We've talked about the issues with not to have replace your whole basketball team every single year, right? Mm-hmm. And so like here's my biggest concern for, I guess, Fred Hoiberg is like, how do you replace Walker? How do you replace Sam Griesel? How do you replace Casey Tominaga if he decides not to come back? Those are that was your offense outside of Lawrence. So my biggest thing is like, while he did change his scheme, he changed it to more of be like a defensive mindset and kind of build on that. You can build on that, right? But now you're having to go back and do the exact same thing you've done the last 4 years, which is you got to replace the majority of the team.
And in
the past, though, even had him build off of, we actually have a young core. I mean, you got guys that got some really good minutes, even freaking Bradenbach, and you even got what's the other center, the 7-footer that is
Oleg Koyanitz.
No. The
Blaise Keita.
I mean, Blaise Keita got some really good minutes.
I was gonna say Oleg, but
no, Oleg was no.
But like, even Blaise, with his injuries, was
he was limited, but he looked good when he could play. I mean, so I understand what you're saying with turning the whole roster, but this is the first time where young guys were actually seeing it wasn't all transfers. Right. We had young guys were first to play. If Bandamel and Gary didn't go down, we would have been in that situation for sure because none of those guys would have had any minutes.
Another big part to that is, Mike, I know you go to pretty much every home game. Like, pretty much everyone, if not every. But I think another big recruiting pitch when you have to bring guys in, either, as young recruits or as transfers, is showing them, look at that atmosphere when we beat Iowa. Look at what happened when we beat Creighton. Like, these aren't even Iowa and Creighton, I think we could all call wins. But look what happens in the state of Nebraska when you do that. For a program that a lot of people write off as irrelevant, this goes fucking insane.
It's true.
And we're not asking you to go to March Madness. We're not asking you to make a deep run. Fuck, I would go for you to get one goddamn win in that tournament. You come here and you get 15 to 18 wins in a season, and you're a god. We've been talking about Casey. We've been talking about Casey for 6 or 7 straight weeks. That's a 16-7 win team.
So this is my question to you guys. NCAA tournament next year or bust?
I would say yes.
Oh, Hoiberg?
Yes.
Yeah, no, he's got to make the tourney.
See, now, Mike, you said yes right away, and now you're like,
okay, but here's my thing. The only thing that I would say iffy NIT type thing would be
top 4 seed in the NIT, and I'd be willing to let him stay.
Yeah, my thing is it's all about how it looks. It can't be, not close losses or anything like that, but this year, given circumstances, you were still rattling off wins. You had really big wins against Iowa. You beat Creighton. You beat teams like that. But to me, you could go look back at Tim Miles. We tweeted about it today. He won 22 games, missed the fucking tourney.
I was just gonna say that's
so.
Why.
If a season like that happens and Nebraska gets fucked, you win 22 games and somehow don't make the fucking tournament, and then you got Rutgers, bitch. They won 19 games and lost to Nebraska.
Fuckers.
At home. And to me, it's just that it's about how it looks. If you have a really good winning record, I would say he's fine. But
again, I'm saying you give me a top 4 NIT seed, and I think he's chilling.
I think he's fine.
If you're hosting
a top,
game?
top 4 NIT seed, and I'm
would
not asking for a 1 seed. I'm saying
right
as a 4 seed going into the NIT, I think would be fine.
That would technically be progress.
Yeah,
right. That's what we're asking for. Progress.
But yeah, if you come in,
Kyle, you're quiet over here. What you thinking about? I can see the wheels. I can see the smoke. The smoke coming out of his ears.
I wish you could see how big my smile is right now.
I can see it.
He's thinking about football.
I want you to put your smile into words now.
I mean, I'm not. No.
What?
No. I don't.
On a podcast, your words will live forever. We're not editing this shit out, Kyle. You're on video.
I just. What?
Give it
what does so okay, this brings up the golden question. What is acceptable progress?
Nebraska.
The NIT.
A 4 seed in the NIT.
In year 5.
In year 5, I guess.
If you don't get me a 4 seed
to me, that
in
is
the NIT,
that's the Charmin Ultra Bowl. If you switch it and compare it to football.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's what Scott needed to do to keep his job, was to make the Charmin Ultra Soft Bowl, right?
True.
That's all Fred has to do, I think, is just make the NIT. And to make the NIT, you have to have above 500 record. You can't be 500.
Yeah.
Some people are saying if they don't make the NCAA tournament, it's bye-bye Freddie.
And it very well could be. I'm glad I'm not Trev, because I tit, though.
Yeah, I do tit.
I do tit. I tit hard.
We all tit at the tit of tit.
Trust in Trev, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the NCAA tournament argument, I think, is a little extreme, but I think another thing that's going to make things a little bit more difficult in year 5 is this rumor that you can't recruit basketball players to Nebraska. And that's been proven wrong. And even when you recruit players, we're not pulling that many 5 stars. Got one. We got one.
Ever.
But I think what Fred showed this year was less about recruitment and more about development. And I think that is probably his saving grace leading into year 5.
I agree. The development thing.
I think that
he
is
has
probably,
no choice.
Yeah,
that has to be his.
You
saving
better
grace.
fucking develop or you're gone.
Here's my concern. Is that Fred Hoiberg has hit his ceiling. And I say that because even with this great run over 9 games, even with that arguably the best run in modern Nebraska basketball history, still couldn't make the NIT.
Yeah, but
I get it. Earlier before they were losing, but I'm just saying, even with that awesome run where we were in the clouds, we were on cloud 9. It's like, even despite that run, it's like still didn't make the NIT.
Yeah, I think you had the first year you talked about it. It took you 3 years to figure out that your scheme wasn't working, and it made you decide to become a defensive-minded basketball program. And so you saw that at the beginning of the year. I mean, it's a transitional period, right? You're instilling a new mindset. You're instilling a new, like, we're going to be defensive heavy. We don't need to score 85, 95 points a game to try to beat people out. Let's just kick the shit out of them on the defensive side.
Yeah.
So I think if we're going to talk, like, I don't want to say excuses, but if we're talking, trying to like talk through this, if you have this transition and you go on this incredible run in February, it took you a while to get that stuff rolling, right? And then that's with losing 2 starters and playing people that shouldn't have gotten as many minutes, or somebody you'd assume wouldn't if your 2 other starters didn't get hurt. So like you said, Mike, there's a lot to build off of as far as like your scheme, and then you've got your younger players and things like that moving into next year. But yeah, I mean, I think part of the beginning of this year and how kind of rough it was, it had something to do with just transitioning and trying to figure out what works. And he found it.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was very successful in February.
But was it too little too late?
Right.
Maybe.
And so I
Obviously it was.
yeah.
Well, then you lose them.
I want to point out that when we started this episode, I did say, I am drinking Pilsner. I am not drinking Kool-Aid. I will say that I felt like, again, I bitched about it last week about the net rankings and how Nebraska struggled to move in net rankings,
90s.
even when they were getting quad 1 win.
We were winning and still going down in the rankings.
Yeah.
So,
So I felt like there was some sort of bias against Nebraska. Again, I'm not drinking Kool-Aid here. I am not saying Nebraska's the best team on the planet. In fact, I'm not even saying they should have got a bid to the NCAA tournament. I think with the loss to Minnesota, that barely put them in NIT, but to be in the 90s in the net rankings with those wins, with 0 quad 3 or quad 4 losses up until that Minnesota loss, I thought it was just absolutely unfair. I thought it felt biased.
yeah, well, they didn't respect the Nebraska journey, the little fun they're having. The national media didn't give a shit about that. I'm just telling you that now.
For what it's worth, it looked like a Cinderella story. That's what everybody was banking on. And the Cinderella story ended with Minnesota in the Big Ten tournament.
Ended abruptly.
Stella lost her slipper, and that
Yes.
bitch ain't coming back.
Right.
One name that I'm intrigued about, and we can, I don't know, do you want to talk a little bolt ball before we wrap up or no?
Go for it.
Okay. But one thing I wanted to mention,
I'll never deny that.
to put a bow on Nebraska ball, is we do have a guy that did not play this year that thought about pulling his red shirt, is Ramel Lloyd. And, you know, that could be the missing piece that Fred needs to the offense going next year. So we'll see. He could be a good piece to build around. I know obviously he has no minutes. He's never played, but there's a reason he redshirted. He went to IM Academy. I mean, he was a sought after guy. So maybe he has that piece and a guy that was able to build and develop to build around for next year.
Yeah, and that decision to keep his red shirt and not play him
Yeah.
probably had something to do with Fred knowing, like, my job is secure. I don't want to gamble on this kid. Like, let's leave him for next year.
Exactly. So I hope that maybe that's the piece that we know. We were talking about those other guys, that he could be that missing piece. Maybe he is that replacement for Greasel or something, or maybe he is the missing piece for Keisei Tominaga. I don't know.
Right.
But let's go into a quick segment on Bolt Ball.
Very quick.
I'd like to start by saying we were sitting in this brewery over on the other side of these things, and I talked about how last year I told people not to freak out after losing the first series of the season. And so I banged that point again, and you guys said, "Fuck Mike, don't get on that close shit." Blah, blah,
Mike,
blah.
you're a piece of shit.
And so
Mike, go
I will
down the
say
hole.
The baseball team has looked okay. They've looked good. They had a couple good wins, and they are hitting the shit out of the ball.
To our defense, we were just looking at the evidence.
Yeah, I'm aware.
At that point.
I'm aware.
Look,
Hey,
that's all I'm saying.
Connor,
What's the evidence look like now?
We simply,
we wouldn't know that now. We're
Yeah.
sitting there 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, we simply brought the same treatment that you gave us.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
That was
evidence.
but
Oh.
so far, it looks good.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing,
and the
right?
season's
Like,
almost over.
like people stop
even
that.
close.
Stop that.
It's looked okay.
Look, you can't say it just looks okay because they back-to-back 10-run win Northern Colorado. Northern
Which is a
Colorado.
powerhouse. They
Northern
best team
Colorado.
here.
Northern Colorado's bad.
Yeah,
They're a bad team.
Yeah, you
That-
those are games you should 10 run.
But baseball is a weird sport.
It is.
Okay, baseball is weirder than football. Baseball is filled with crazy shit that happens all the time. My point with this is they're taking care of business against a team they should be doing that.
Win the games you're supposed to win.
They're not losing to Georgia Southern.
Correct.
No. And you go out Illinois State.
Yes.
Do work.
Who has good pitching?
Swept them.
Kinda.
I'll take
Yeah.
it. I'll take it. I'll call it a sweep.
Yeah, with the air quotes on there for those that aren't watching us right now. The air quotes are on swept.
And the thing that I like is their starters are going 6 innings. They're giving the bullpen less chance to f things up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, you have Kyle Perry, you have Shea Shanneman. Shea Shanneman looks like he's shaying, which is a good thing. Experienced guy, former starter. Earlier in San Diego and stuff. It's like, oh boy. Uh-oh. But some of their younger guys, I had said in the video that I made, it's 12-0. And you're walking, dude. Don't walk guys when it's 12-0. Groove them a fastball.
Right down the middle.
I don't care.
Who cares?
Walks are the worst thing ever.
My advice.
You should go to hell for walking guys.
Regardless whether it's 12-0, just don't walk guys. My advice for pitchers would just be strike everyone out all the time.
Don't allow any hits.
That's a good call.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Here's the thing.
And I hire me as a coach.
You're oversimplifying it, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm being a dick.
But what you have to do is when it is 12-0, you have to bet on
your defense.
Strikes, right? If a guy hits it, he hits it. But a lot of the time, like we had said before, the most successful hitters of all time, 300, they're going to fail 7 times out of 10.
Yeah, and they're really good.
Just like if they hit it, fine. But most of the time, it's going to be at a guy, or it's going to be a pop-up or a ground out or whatever. So just throw strikes.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing.
If they jack homers, they jack a homer. Hitting a home is very hard. Even if it's a fastball at 97 down the middle, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it for Nebraska right now.
No, they are.
Shit, man.
I think what's really cool about the pitching at Nebraska right now is they've gotten past exactly what you're talking about, Jared, is that superhero mentality where that pitcher feels like they've got to do everything. And that doesn't seem to be how they're playing. Like they know I've got a defense behind me. Let's just go get the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's working.
And the thing, a lot of people aren't talking about this, but their defense is playing very, very well. Their fielding percentage, I didn't look, but it seems like they're top 10 in the country. They haven't had an error for ever since San Diego. I don't think they've had an error.
San Diego.
So, Bryce Matthews is doing his thing, and Max Anderson had his little hit streak. You have guys like Cole Evans, who? He's went 9 for his past 11 at bats. What's up?
Fielding percentage, Nebraska currently ranked number 8 in the country.
Oh shit!
Okay,
my bad. Okay, I'll take
pretty good. Hey, so we're top 8,
and they are
top
just behind Boston College for that 7 spot.
Yeah,
actually, holy shit, they are. They're
What?
4 1,000th of a percent from number.
No shit.
Yeah, it's very tight near the top of that, towards the top of that race.
Fielding percentages.
Abilene Christian.
Always close.
That's
Abilene
that's
Christian
number 1.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Stop that. Again, Abilene Christian is not a bad team. Like people just think, oh, Abilene Christian, they're not good at football, so why would they be good? Different sports.
But if you look at this top 8, we're not going to go top 10 just because Nebraska's 8, and I don't give a fuck about 9 or 10. These are all teams that are perennially good. You got Abilene Christian 1, LSU, Kansas, Washington, Ole Miss, Virginia, Boston College, and then Nebraska. Those are teams that are always in that, maybe at the exception of Abilene Christian, in that field 64.
A lot of pressure right now. Look at batting average.
I can do that.
They have to be around the top 10 because, like we said earlier, they're
crazy.
The piss out of the ball, and it's from
number 13.
Okay, a lot of this is from newcomers, and we talked about this earlier. Is last year, he had a team. Had a team that just didn't seem it was working. God, I'm so fucking sick.
LOBs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, strikeouts in. LOBs left and right. But this team, they're putting the ball in play. They don't just look at a strike. Ooh.
And again, without going through the full list of the teams ahead of us, if anyone wants to go look at this list, if you look at the 12 teams ahead of Nebraska, again, teams that perennially are teams that you would expect to see in that late season, like getting close to Omaha, if not in Omaha.
Regionals and shit.
Yeah, it's not out of the question to assume a lot of these teams will make it that far. And Nebraska being number 8 in fielding percentage, number 13 in batting average. I mean, that's a really good sign.
And we want to give a quick shout out to Colvins.
Yes.
Guy is absolutely raking.
I think, did he win a Big Ten offensive player?
He won his first Big Ten player of the week, going 9 for 11 with an 818 batting average.
My fucking
2
Lord.
home runs, 3 doubles, 7 RBIs, 4 scored, a stolen base, 1 walk, and a 2.469 OPS.
Can we go ahead and just name him our junk dog of the
Yeah.
week?
We need to get that. We need to get that drop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, if you're going to these baseball games and it's like 40 degrees out, where's Cole Evans at? I got to stand by him.
No shit. He's hotter than fuck.
He's hot. He's blistering hot. So next up, they have UNO. Sorry, not you. Omaha. Trev made it a big deal to make that Omaha's team. We are not UNO. We are Omaha.
Why?
Because
He is at a real University of Nebraska.
well, that's what Trev wanted when he was
weird.
We're Omaha, baby.
Yeah, but we tit.
We tit.
Tit.
We
We
tit,
tit.
but I don't pre Trev.
If you ask
pre
Trev,
Lincoln Trev tit.
I don't pre-tit.
I don't pre tit.
you know Omaha tit.
Yeah, I don't
Just
own tit.
So that's tomorrow. $1 off hot chocolate.
Ooh.
So make your way to Haymarket. And then we have Nichols State.
That
It
actually
used to be Nichols State. But
they're moving venues for that. I don't
Are
know
they?
if you saw that. Yeah, they're gonna play in Kansas instead.
Manhattan, Kansas. There it is right there.
Yeah.
So-
and that's why I'm wondering if the UNO game will get played tomorrow because it's all the weather.
It should be
I had to go
tomorrow, though.
I had to go into because I was confused about why they were moving games because of weather. But apparently, I believe, or I gather, that if it's an on-field temperature of 30 or below, they're just not going to play. So it kind of comes down to game time for tomorrow. But Nichols State has already been moved.
Okay. So that's the next 4 games. Look, anytime it comes to like series, I just want to win the series. So win 3 out of 4.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Damn
You know what I'm
right.
saying? All right, guys. Anything else?
I'm set.
Okay.
Yeah, you know where to find us.
NBNR podcast. We have merch. Mike made some merch.
Handbags.
Did you make some merch today?
No, I didn't anywhere.
Pretty lot.
Yeah, I
I
saw
logged
a
in,
sign
Bob.
in.
I
Okay.
did, but I was just
We're on
playing
you.
around. Just playing around.
Okay. We got more merch coming, guys. If you like the podcast, you like what you heard, you former pro, all that stuff,
Fuck yeah.
buy some merch, help us out.
And go to @NBNR podcast on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
If you're watching us on Facebook right now, make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are officially
Please.
live on YouTube.
Yes.
We could use some more love on YouTube, so go follow us on YouTube.
Okay. Sign off.
Yeah.
Okay. One of yours, Jared Hall,
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
And Connor Cavalack.
as always. BR.
Sanitize that
Stupid.
microphone.